What's up, dude?
What's up?
Thank you for coming again on the podcast. You're one busy man. Now that you have a child, Mike Ortiz, I don't even know who you are anymore.
I don't even know who I am anymore, man.
I remember when I met you so long ago. You were just that young lawyer, making 30-second Instagram videos, and now look at you.
Dude, I have not made an Instagram video in I don't know how long.
Isn't it? But you're busier than ever.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, when I'm not working, I'm at home, and I have to help with the baby, and that like is like you turn away 1 second, and she's like trying to climb up the stairs or like trying to get into the cupboard. So
yeah,
and then it's a team, definitely a team job, and yeah, dude,
see, that's why I like I don't have, my girlfriend has 3 kids, but they're 10, 11, and 13, so they're self-efficient. But then we have other issues, like we had to take their Switch away yesterday, the boys, so then it's like all night they're just moping because they can't play video games. So then we're dealing with that, dealing with that, like mopey video gamers.
Yeah, I think every stage you're gonna have something. Like right now, my daughter, she likes to play with our phones, so like we don't like to give her the phone. Just our phone, like it's dirty, and whatever. So like if she grabs it and we take it away from her,
oh my meltdown.
Yeah, World War III.
Can we go back to the Nintendos, or you said, I don't remember if you ever had these, but like the Nintendos, like you had to have backlit in the car because the screen didn't get off light, and then you had to run like the battery pack like down to the cigarette lighter, and you had 2 games. You had Mario and Mario 3 or whatever it was called. But
yeah,
that a boy. So you were on the podcast today because you saw me make a video last week about NFTs and real estate, and you're like, bro, that's my jam, and I want to talk about NFTs. And I truly think that NFTs, maybe not in the next 5 years, I don't think, in real estate, because real estate's very, very slow, and what people don't understand, like there's going to be a lot of pushback because a lot of people are going to lose jobs. That like maybe in 10 years, because like I just saw an article today or yesterday that the first ever, there's a house in Tampa getting sold this week at auction, but they're selling it as an NFT, and it's just going to immediately transfer over to the new owner. No ifs and buts about it.
Yeah. So so real estate, like you said, it's a dinosaur profession, kind of like the law as well. And NFTs, in essence, are just like blockchain tokens that have some sort of data on them. So a deed to a property is just a piece of paper with information that says that this person transferred this legally described real estate to this person. So the blockchain can serve that exact purpose. The problem is that, and one of the reasons why it will take 10 years or even longer, is because when you go to the Riverside County Recorder, their records go back so far, and they've digitized a lot of them. So like digitally, it's from like, I think the 1970s or something and on. But like originally they just had like big old books. Yeah. And then like some developer would like, have the county like, or the county assessor like would separate this land into parcels and, number the parcels and whatever. And then so if somebody sold land, it'd be like lot 37 of tract number whatever per map recorded on, so it's all like the fundamentals of real estate, real property ownership in California and most states in the U.S. is all like old school. So the counties and all the infrastructure built around the current recording system would have to change. I think it's most likely that NFTs, so in Tampa, I believe so when somebody buys a house, there's a sales contract, and there's a deed. The sales contract is just an agreement. The actual transfer of the property is the deed
transferring over.
So I believe the Tampa NFT is just the sales agreement, and they're still going to have to be.
No, they're still going to have to do something on record.
Yeah.
Just because you have to, obviously still play, but like
play by their rules. Yeah.
I don't know if you watched my video, but like I'm very interested in NFTs based off, or some type of coin based on like investing in real estate. like, I mean, there's companies out there that do it, but like like if I bought a 20 unit property and I could build a NFT just for that property, a percentage, and I can build and I make say 20 of them and I can make no more than 20. If you buy a NFT from someone, then you can transfer that NFT to anyone you want, and I don't have to be involved in it, and you don't have to get a lawyer involved. You don't need to get a realtor involved. You just go like, and then it's on the blockchain. So I don't even have to question who owns it. Like, that's the exciting part for me that I'm looking forward to down the road. The only thing I don't like about it is like people are doing it, but then like you're getting paid in like some type of coin, and it's like, no, I don't want the transfer in crypto. Like, I would still find US dollars, but ownership in NFTs is like where I'm looking at.
Yeah, that's so it's, the blockchain is just a very simple technology, but really so much stuff that we do now is fundamentally the same. Like, it's just recording information, who owns what, transferring something, and it's like a lot of the sort of curve, the learning curve, is an adoption curve. Like, you can do this right now. Like, you can have an NFT be a sales agreement, and you can pretty much have all the legalese in the token, and you'll just say whoever purchases this token, whoever owns this token has the right to this property. Because like, and I don't know this, but like, let's say a developer is developing like 40 homes or whatever, and they're pre-selling the homes. I don't know that a deed is recorded. I don't know at what time the deed is recorded.
It's all the way at the end.
Okay, so at the end. So yeah, so up until that end.
Until literally the day of closing is when the deed is transferred over.
Okay, yeah.
So that's why there's always like, sometimes like title won't record the deed in time. Like, nothing means anything until the deed's recorded. So like, what sucks is like, if Monday's a holiday and Friday at 5:30 you didn't record, like, you cannot own that house, even though every contract says you're closing that day. You can't own that. You can't touch it. You can't do anything until Tuesday. It's. I wonder if it's just gonna speed up everything.
Yeah, I think because like you just explained, like, you have the contract, and the NFT can essentially like serve all of the purposes of the contract, and then you can still do the deed like the old school way. And it'll just like, I mean, what it's going to take a developer that is fluent in NFTs and blockchain to say, hey, well, this is how we're going to sell these properties. Just buy these NFTs, and whoever owns this NFT at this date and time, it's going to, be the person we close escrow with, and title will record their name. And like, there are other laws that make it harder, because anytime you sell something that is not made yet, there's like there's a contractual risk on the seller. They have to fulfill the terms of the agreement as of that date. So like, in development, like, let's say the developer didn't realize that the geological situation.
The one we did in Rialto, we were months and months behind because of we couldn't get fencing, we couldn't get this, we couldn't get that. Like, and we're like, we don't know when we're gonna be done. We're not gonna be done. We're gonna be done. So it definitely happens. I'm just interested to see like how it just speeds up things and makes less chances for mistakes. Because like you were saying, like, everything's digitalized already, but like, I can only go back like maybe to like early 2000s, like on the MLS, to see like when something was sold or not. Like, I could go deep dive more, but like an actual like see it's only early 2000s, because that's when the internet kind of started. Like, before that, it was all in books, So like the track of like they're not like, though they never entered the records like what the house was listed for in 87 and what did it sell for in 87 and how many days it was on the market before it sold or anything. So like, that information will never, it's lost. It's all long gone. So
yeah, and so like, what's so cool about the blockchain and using NFTs or tokens or coins, whatever you want to call them, is that anybody can access that data. And even now, because right now NFTs are primarily used to sell artwork. So they represent ownership in works of art, mostly digital works of art.
Which I think that kind of messes it up, because people think the artworks is what NFTs are. not what's actually selling them. Everyone thinks like when you say NFTs, most people think it's art.
Yeah, and so the semantics confuse people, but there are already companies that use AI, but you don't even need AI. You just read the blockchain, and so you can see what this particular token has sold for, and that's all. Like you don't have to pay MLS, you don't have to pay Data Tree or First American or whoever
to run that information for you.
To run that information, you can just look on the blockchain and you can see it. Of course, like it takes time, so you might pay because somebody else does it more quickly or makes it easier for you to read. But yeah, and the blockchain, depending on the blockchain, this is one of the reasons why like Bitcoin and Ethereum are so like entrenched as like top coins, is because their blockchain lasts. Like Bitcoin's blockchain is since 2009, so like it's got all of this history, and with each block that is created, it like solidifies that foundation of information. Same with Ethereum, but there are other blockchains like Solana right now where it's very Solana is more usable for things like actual transactions for everyday deals on the blockchain, because with Ethereum, to record information, you're paying probably $50 to thousands of dollars to record the information on the blockchain. It's
so every time you sell a token, you're paying for that.
Somebody pays for it. Yeah, and that's essentially the whole. Like one of the big things about blockchain and why it is valuable is because there's an inherent cost. So like if you go on Facebook and Twitter, you have all these bots that are just like spamming tweets. But on blockchains, it costs money to send transactions. So that little cost or that big cost makes it so that it eliminates a bunch of spam essentially. Mm-hmm. So but there's a limit. There's a capacity limit. So for Ethereum right now, there have been times where just to do one transaction was like $100, or it depends on how much information is in the transaction. It could be $1,000, or even to create some smart contracts, it's like $5,000. That's not practical for a business to run
for every single time. And that's the interesting thing is like, people will say like crypto's the next whatever, but it's like until it starts being able to be bought and sold on a daily basis and not, I mean, like everyone has asked me about, are you in crypto? Cause I think it's a cool thing for people to say. And I always say no. Cause like, I just couldn't get in and then see like right now it's down 25%.
I don't know.
Whatever it is, like because of inflation and things like that, or like just it's so interesting to see like how quickly that currency can change based on tweet or whatever. But I also think stocks are the same way. Like, I mean, it's crazy when people don't realize like when someone goes on MSNBC or CNN and then like talks really bad about a company, and then that stock goes down, and then they go in and buy up the stock, Like that's the thing that people don't get. It's like when someone's saying like they'll hop on there, talk really bad about it, or they're shorting the stock that no one knows about, like, and then you go in and buy the stock up when it's at a lower level. Like, dude, it's crazy.
Like, I think it's CNBC is infamous for this. Like, there are so many screen grabs of like CNBC talking about this particular stock, and like they'll show the chart, and that particular time was like the top of the price, and then it just like dumped right afterwards. And they're notorious for that, like, which is it's, I mean, even like if you look at all the meme stocks like GameStop and even Nokia and BlackBerry, all the stuff that Wall Street Bets has pumped, like those stocks have just as much volatility, if not more, than Bitcoin and Ethereum have had. But it's not inherent to the crypto. I think what it is just that these markets that we have are also archaic. Like these markets were built when people were like on the sales floor or like had to submit orders through like their broker, and they would fill out
the
sheet.
paper.
And so now when it's just like instantaneous, there's so many users now that like everything is liable to be like bought up and sold down. And then like you said, there's like humans are humans, and greed is one of the worst human, vices ever. And you think that people who run these humongous hedge funds, like I think their greed is even higher than the average Joe,
for sure.
Because they're dealing with billions of dollars, and they know if they don't like show profits, then they're gonna lose these like pension funds that they're managing money for. So them, like, they're probably conniving to, and I'm just speculating, but they're probably like, how can we get that extra 1%?
I mean, and then when that's your job, and that's the thing is when that's your job and you get paid off your result. Even for me, like I have gotten people to pay $20,000 higher when they were our only offer.
Yeah.
And it sounds, it's terrible that it happened to those buyers, but I also could have lost the deal. So I have to roll the dice on what deal I can push and when I can push and how much higher I can push. And like I've had one offer and got them to go $20,000 over asking price with one offer on the table. But it's like at the end of the day, like that's why I get paid.
Yeah.
And so it's not even, for me, it's not even greed. For me, it's like, because I don't even, if I made the extra $20,000, like maybe, but for me, it's not even that big of a difference in a commission. But it's like, that's the reason I'm getting paid to do that.
You're doing it for your client.
I'm doing that for my client. Like, that's why I'm getting paid. I think the hard part is, I think sometimes with how how easy everything is to get into, is that people get into like say crypto or those things not because they believe in the technology or believe in the system. They just see that people are making money off of it, and then the moment there's a hiccup or they hear it, they bail out because they don't believe in the long haul of the technology. Even stocks, like they get into a company not because they believe in that company. They believe like, okay, this company is going to make me X return, then I'm going to bounce out and go back and forth. I think that's the thing now is people invest because it's to make money, not invest in a company they believe in.
Yeah, and it's funny because that was like initially why I first bought Bitcoin in 2017.
Because everyone thought you're like, oh God, I got to be cool. I want to be the guy at the party that says I have crypto. I have crypto. And it's hard because like, I mean, I know guys, I know guys like Decker and things like that are really into crypto and they have crypto companies. But like, I mean, it's like I have buddies that literally I talk to and they're like day trading stocks and stuff. And I'm like, just buy a company you believe in. And then just walk away from it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't, I think that's the thing that people, it's like, if you believe in it, you need to stick for the long haul. And there's going to be ups and downs. And, it's like, I mean, Warren Buffett, that's how he became, he bought Apple, he bought Coca-Cola, he bought Dairy Queen. And then McDonald's, I don't know. But he bought companies he liked.
Yeah, I mean, I think, that just also goes to just financial knowledge. Like, people don't know that when you buy a stock, you're actually buying ownership of a company. And if that company increases its profits and succeeds, then, like, you just hold that. Like, it's basically no different than starting a company. Yeah. Except when you start a company, you own 100% of the stock. And then if you, like, get partners, maybe you might have, like, 25% split among 4 people, but owning a share. And there are different types of shares. Like, there's a lot of tech stocks are worthless because there's no voting rights. There's no dividends.
It's the dividends. That's what I'm about. You gotta get those dividends, every month you're getting that mailbox money.
Yeah, and that's what like Buffett, he also, and I'm no expert on them, but he buys companies that are undervalued based on their revenue and profits and dividends. Like that's compound, the idea of compound interest is dividends, reinvesting that.
I just don't understand like how all these massive companies can say they're worth so much money but then show no profit. Like that's the one thing I don't understand is like how can your company worth, what was it like WeWorks is worth billions of dollars and they were showing no profit. Like is it like I think that's the point where it's like that's the crazy part is that where it's like you show no profit and you're worth so much. It's like, well, is it just the technology, the ideas? It's just, I just stick to real estate.
Dude, yeah. But, I mean, I honestly, like, I probably have, like, less than $1,000 in my Robinhood stock trading account. And I I have a IRA, you know, that I have my advisor, like I withdraw money every month or whatever. But like I loathe stocks because I feel like it's unfair to people like me, to like the average investor, and also I'm kind of like I like to gamble, so that's why I like crypto. So, and I feel like I have an edge in crypto versus stocks. I have no edge
Are
whatsoever.
you know, obviously you're seeing, you know, we were talking about like NFTs and things like that, and you're obviously a lawyer. Do you feel like, are you doing anything currently today to prepare for if that change ever comes?
Yeah, I mean, already I have clients who have crypto assets, and I have to look into how to make sure that if they pass away, those assets are not going to get lost. And that's very complicated, and it's very old school how we have to do it, because if you have a bank account with Wells Fargo, you can put something, it's called a pay on death beneficiary, or you could even have your trust be the owner of the bank account. So if you die, whoever steps in as trustee just manages that bank account just like, you know, nothing, or like just like nothing happened. And if there's a pay on death beneficiary, then the bank will pay the funds in your account to that person. But with like Coinbase and Gemini, they don't have those things implemented yet. So if you have an account with them, you can't, like, your family is going to have to know that you had an account with them. They're going to have to know your email address. They're probably going to have to know like what kind of assets you had. And then it's going to be 6-9 month process, just sending support requests and
It's almost be better if they just knew your password. Like, you know.
yeah. Which is also something like with estate planning and all these digital accounts and digital assets. Yeah, it's better for them to know your password, but also that opens up a vulnerability.
Yeah, for sure.
If you have everything written down, which realistically everybody has their passwords written down somewhere, whether it's a you know, OneNote file or a Word file or note, like, so but you know, with crypto, so like if you have, it's called a self-hosted wallet. Like the thing about crypto that a lot of people like is that you can own all your funds. You don't need a bank. You don't need some third party. You can own all of your funds. But to access your wallet, you need a private key or a passphrase, which is usually 12 to 24 words. So it's just like a randomized like words that go in a certain order. So if you have those, you can access all the funds in your wallet. So one way that you store your funds is you write them on a piece of paper and you put it in a bank safe deposit box, or you could put it in your safe at home, but that opens up. And then there are other security measures to do. Like you can do, it's called a multi-sig, where there, in order to access the funds, 3 different people or 2 out of 3 different people have to approve the access. But each method has its weakness. So it's complicated. Like, and the human error is ultimately what messes it up. I'm sure you've heard of there's one dude I think in the UK that threw away his.
It's a hard drive.
Yeah, his hard drive with billions of dollars in Bitcoin in it, and he's been
searching for forever. But then the crazy part is, like, even if he finds it, like, the odds of that hard drive not being destroyed.
All the crap.
Yeah.
Literally.
Have you? So how do you feel? Are you into the metaverse?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
I don't even been on the
It's so
metaverse.
wild, dude. Like, I stopped playing video games when I was like in high school because I just got too busy with life, you know. And,
you're a lawyer, so you went to law school, so
yeah, and also like I was very social, and like I just always felt guilty for spending hours and hours on video games, even though I love them. So initially I thought the idea of the metaverse was stupid, but then I went and I actually like went into some of these metaverses, and I was like, wow, like I immediately understand why this is going to be the future, because it's sort of like the difference between writing a letter and posting on Facebook. Like you can write letters to people and like, yeah, you're still communicating, but like the fact that 2 people in different places can almost like live chat, or like Facebook or Twitter or whatever, adds another layer of closeness. And the metaverse takes it one step above that. So, or like the difference between a phone call and a Zoom, like you're doing the same thing, but it adds like a different dynamic. So these metaverses, it's the same thing. Like it adds a different sense of closeness to somebody else, even though you're still by yourself or you're still not with them, but like it's a step above.
I would be interested. Then aren't you worried that then like people just like stay home all the time and just
They will.
metaverse
I
everywhere?
guarantee.
You know what I mean? You're gonna metaverse, and then you're gonna have like food delivered to your house, and then you have to pay someone to come change your diaper, and then.
Well, dude, the crazy thing, and this is what I wanted to make sure that we talked about, is so these metaverses right now are some of these metaverses. So the most OG metaverses is like Crypto Voxels, Decentraland, Sandbox. So they sold plots of land in these metaverses, right? So you have and those OGs already have, like, you can go into these metaverses and there are architects, there are metaverse architects. So if you own land in one of these metaverses, you can pay somebody to build your building or your home or whatever. And a lot of the most basically the in the metaverse right now, there are companies that are hosting events. Most of them are like concerts. I went to an art show in the metaverse. And so those companies have paid architects to build their buildings. And it's essentially like design work. And the actual physics of it probably doesn't matter, like, which is also crazy because hypothetically you can just throw physics out the window.
Yeah.
And the only reason why like some metaverse character is like on the ground is because we are just used to that physics. But hypothetically, you can change the physics of it as well. So it's like super, it has a lot of potential. But that's a company, like you can make money building, it's like video game design.
Yeah, I saw an article today how like there's like a few brokerages like trying to get into the metaverse, and then the metaverse is like saying like, no, get out. Like, we don't want like realtors in this space. We don't want a third party. We don't want the middleman. We don't want that. So like, get out of the metaverse.
But and then that's sort of how you judge. Well, so in crypto in general, there is a range of users and their ideals about what the crypto and what Web3 should be like. Some people feel that we should eliminate. It's a very libertarian ideology. We should eliminate all restrictions. So if this is a metaverse that is very consistent with the crypto ethos, then they might say, oh, we don't want that, but they have no control because the crypto ethos is that this is free. This is a free market. If you want to sell it, if you want to hire a third party to sell it, that's your decision.
Mm-hmm.
But already a lot of these metaverse plots are already put on marketplaces, and the most popular marketplace is OpenSea, and they charge 2.5% of the transaction.
It's just the same thing.
Yeah, and it's insane. Like 2.5% is a lot. Like I don't even pay that much for my credit card.
And then to think like that one guy bought that lot right next to Snoop Dogg for like $1 million or whatever it was. I don't. But I mean, my thing is like someone was asking like, that's so stupid. I go, well, think about it. If you for some reason want to know Snoop Dogg or you want to talk to him, and there's no way that you could be his neighbor currently, but you can be his neighbor in the metaverse, and then you're now technically his neighbor. Like you can talk to Snoop Dogg if Snoop Dogg's there. Like, I mean, think about like even like Twitter, or Instagram, I don't think Facebook, but like you're really like you can DM anyone. They might not respond to you, but you can reach anyone, DM any person you want, and there's a possible chance that like you might connect with them. Yeah. And that's just now another level that we can connect with other people that are not in our inner circle.
Yeah, no, that's a great point because it's happening. Like, so one of my Twitter accounts, Gary V, follows me.
Oh, really?
Like super, like, it was super
awesome.
I know. Hey, you're in the presence of.
Dang, which Twitter was? What Twitter is that?
It was just the Twitter that I made like specifically for NFTs. And so when he was getting into NFTs, like had just been posting, and he started following a bunch of people, and I was one of the people he
Wow.
followed.
Do you DM him?
No.
Dude, you gotta DM him.
But I have bought some of his NFTs.
Oh.
Not like his. I didn't buy like the super expensive.
You didn't buy
ones
the Gary fans?
The V friends.
V
Yeah,
friends?
I don't have the V friends.
So
but
you're not going to his event then?
No, I mean hypothetically I can. So his book 12 and a half.
Yeah, I read it.
He for every 12 books that you bought, like he gave you one of his NFTs. They're called the Book Games NFTs. So I bought like a few $100.
That was a good book. It was all right.
Yeah,
it was an okay book. It wasn't his best, but it was all right. And I'm a Gary Vee fan.
It basically, what I loved about the book were the like scenarios that it talked about.
Like at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the thing that people don't. It's all scenarios, and every scenario, how do you handle it and how do you handle it different? The hard part for me is like, I've read his book, that book, and I've read a few other ones, and sometimes it's like those CEO books are just so higher level than where I'm at. Like I only have one. I mean, I have like 2 employees. Like, so sometimes it's like a lot of those things I don't even come across as issues. But no, Gary's pushing NFTs really hard. But
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to his event actually March 22nd. No, I'm not going to the event. I'm going to his video conference, and he's doing a video on Vegas. I'm already gonna be there for a wedding. I was like, I'll buy a ticket.
Nice, yeah.
It's been a while since I've been to one of his events, so I know. I mean, I think that, and at least he's honest about it. That's one thing I like about Gary is he's like 98% of NFT art's gonna be nothing. It's gonna be like in 5 years it's gonna be worth, but there's ones that are gonna be worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
He's like, so if you hit the right one at the right time, and Yeah. I just think it's sad. I think too many people get into this space because they see guys like him or Logan Paul or whatever, and they don't know what they're actually getting into. And then like we're already seeing so many like pump and dumps,
Oh my god, yeah.
So, and it's so sad, man. They like it's like that's the crazy part about clout or followers or whatever. Like they literally, I don't think influencers realize the not what's the word I'm looking for, the like responsibility that they have based on what they can do to their followers. It's crazy. Yeah. Like I mean, even take Gary. Gary starts pumping, like he pumps up a NFT, and all of a sudden that NFT blows up because of his,
Yeah, and he actually had like some of the NFTs that he's pumped, and I do think he's a little naive in the way that he's done it, but he's done a lot of what he's done very, very well as far as like, from my perspective, ethically and responsibly. And I think it's just because he gets excited.
Yeah.
So he'll get excited and he'll say, "Oh, I found this, artist or this NFT, and I love it," and then everybody will just jump in. There was one that it was called like Chubs, and there are these little like pixelated characters with like little chubby characters with costumes and stuff, and they're like moving and they're kind of cute. And so he was like started buying some, and everybody, the blockchain is public, so they saw that he was buying them, and he even like jumped into the Discord and was like, "Hey, I'm excited for you guys." So a bunch of people bought them, and it turned out that the creators of that project, arguably, I think they did, my opinion is that they did, but committed copyright infringement because they stole some of the images and some of the images from a previous pixel artist, like a video game pixel artist. So then that project, as soon as and that's the thing with crypto, is that it's not like the whole like IP trolling is against the crypto ethos, but if somebody is copyright infringing, like nobody wants that. Like it's more of a social enforcement. So everybody was like, "Oh, I don't want this."
Now it works nothing.
Yeah, now and they came back a little bit recently because the market, like the rising tide lifts all ships. But it's been like almost 2 years since that fiasco. But yeah, a lot of people lost money in that. And then like recently, there was a project called Crypto Skulls that launched in 2019, which was like kind of like the bear market, and what like never sold out, and Gary and his brother AJ like started buying them at like 3 a.m. one day, and Gary like tweeted something, and then the next day, like these things that were selling for like $100 or $200 started selling for like $2,000 or $3,000, or even I think they got up to like $9,000 each. And then it turned out that the creator, like the owner of that project, had like thousands of them.
Oh, like so many.
Yeah, so many. And then people saw that and they started like flooding. And then, but that project, I mean, it's not a horrible project. It's just like I wish he would have thought like, okay, I'm not gonna just like post this because everybody's gonna flood in.
Yeah.
And it's a blockchain. Like he should have seen who had like a lot of the holdings, but ultimately it's a jungle out there, dude. Like you have to be very sharp and like basically it's like a war zone, dude.
I think
people are trying to take your money.
I think nowadays, man, I think you just have to be so much smarter nowadays in anything you do. Like even me, like I'll, like I try to make real estate videos every day, and like I'll read an article that will totally contradict another article, which then totally contradicts another article. And then I have to think like, well, this is a nationwide article. That's not this market. So then it's like, if you're someone who's not in this space and you read these articles, if you read the wrong article at the wrong time and you make like, it's just so hard nowadays. So many people have opinions. I mean, like, and then you have to start thinking like, okay, why is that person making that statement? How does this statement benefit? That's like the one thing like I always think of now. Like when someone's making some type of statement, it's like, why is that person making that statement? And does that person benefit on my actions based on that statement they're making? Like Peter Schiff. I've been listening to Peter Schiff since like 2018, and I remember the first time I came across him, and he's like, I was new in real estate, and I think I just opened this office, and he was talking about the economy bubbles popping, and we're done, and it's gonna be gold, and blah blah blah. And it's what, 2022, and he's still saying the same thing. And Peter owns a gold company, and like he's been pushing that economy balloon bus for at least 4 years now. And it's like, I have gold, and gold has gone up zero since that part of time. So it's like, what if I believed him, bought all this gold, took all my cash, put it into gold, and gold's gone nowhere. It's still at $1,800 an ounce, and I think it peaked at like 2,100 maybe. So it's like, even guys like that, it's like Gary and Grant and Elon Musk and all these people. It's like, why do they make the statements that they're making? Not by accident. Not by It's like when I laugh when people go like, everyone posts everything for a reason. You just have to figure out what the reason is. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, go back down your list. You posted that for some reason. If it's clout, if it's the girl you're talking to, you want her to see this or whatever. What reason did you post that? Because there's a reason, because we're not posting like what we ate for lunch anymore.
Yeah. No, that I love that example, because for me, I'm such an introvert. So like,
as you just said before, I don't play video games more because I used to always go and hang out on social.
Well, I'm an outgoing introvert.
Me too.
And I have ADD.
That makes two of us.
So, but like, I think we're the same. Like, I hate like pointless conversation.
Yeah.
So like, if it's conversation with meaning, like, we could talk for hours.
I'll be until 2 a.m. Like, you know what I mean? But like, for me, like, someone's asked me like, oh, where are you watching the Super Bowl? I'm like, I don't even think I might not even watch it. And they're like, why? I'm like, I don't have a football team, so why am I gonna waste 5 hours watching a game that I have zero care on the outcome of this game? And I don't care unless I'm going to watch it with certain people that I want to hang out with them. Then yeah, I'll go. But like, just to sit down and watch the game, like, I have zero feeling behind me. Where other people have been planning this for weeks and weeks and weeks, like where we're gonna watch the game, and like, I know people are going to Vegas just to watch the Super Bowl. I'm like, I have no desire, zero.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But then I'll be like, oh, I wanna. I'll drive 2 hours to meet with someone for an hour if I think they're an interesting person. I need to meet with them. I had a guy yesterday. I did a podcast, JD. He's a Vegas realtor. He drove all the way from Vegas yesterday morning, met with our buddy Kevin by the beach to like have just a meeting with them to like talk about like how to get on a bigger level. And then he did my podcast and he drove home. I mean, you want to talk about someone, you literally drove probably 6.5 hours, 7 hours round trip in one day just to meet with two people. I mean, that's commitment.
That's
when you could easily do a phone call.
Yeah.
But it's like he wants to do more content and things like that. So I don't know, man. I just think that like that's the thing that people need to start worrying about with all this stuff. And like, really start doing your homework and really start, believing in or focusing or whatever, and just because it's so easy to fall into a trap,
Yeah, I think just to touch on, I've been, like I said, I bought Bitcoin in 2017 and lost a lot of money in that bubble. I mean, a lot for me back then.
Yeah. Did you hold or did you sell?
No, I sold.
Oh, bro.
Dude, I bought at 3K. It went to 5 and then it went back down to 3. This was like in early 2017.
You could be crushing right now.
And I was like, oh, screw this. I'm selling this. So I got out and then I bought again at 17K. It went to 20 and then I probably sold at like 6K, whatever I had. And it was before I had, I was a poor lawyer at that time.
Do you think that's what's kind of helping all these cryptos blow up? Because we now see the crypto people that have made it really high, and basically the crypto world is now like the new lottery.
Yeah. So right now we're in a very frothy, very gambling lottery type of environment. So what I was going to say is that I'm not a financial advisor and don't take this as advice.
All he does is legal. So if you need to trust Mike Ortiz or other things like that.
I'm a trust and probate attorney. And
there you go.
Just am a nerd about this stuff.
Nerd about crypto and rocks.
Yeah. Is that if you're buying something right now, you should not have in your mind, you should already be planning on when you're going to sell it, because there's so many things, and it doesn't matter what you had, whether it was a Bitcoin or even CryptoPunks. When the market goes down, and it could go down for 3 years, everything's going to go down with it. And if you would be surprised at the percentage of down that it'll go. It'll go 95% down. So if you have $1,000 in there, whatever you own can be worth less than $100.
Yeah.
So you always have to be in crypto and NFTs. You always have to be thinking about when you're going to sell it. If you want to sell it when it goes up 50%, you want to sell it when it goes up 100%, when it's a 2x or a 3x or a 5x, and that's how you should look at your holdings, because I believe Ethereum is the future, but that doesn't mean it can't go back to sub $1,000.
Well, it's even take gold. I have gold, and the reason I have gold, my grandfather passed away and he left it to me, and I have no plan on selling it. But I even said, I'm if this gets to 5,000 an ounce, I'm out. I'll take my money and I'll run. But for me, it just sits in my closet, in my safe. I don't even touch it. It doesn't exist to me. That money's I don't think today I have $20,000 worth of gold, and then today I have $19,000 worth of gold. I don't even look at it. It's on my phone. I actually have an alert if it goes over a certain amount to alert me, because my grandpa screwed up back in the day. He had a lot of silver. And he wasn't paying attention to the market when the economy crashed. It went up to 50 cents an ounce. Dude, if he would have sold at 50 cents an ounce, he would have made $1 million easily. And he sold at 20 cents an ounce.
Oh my God.
I know, right? Crazy.
And it's it's all about experience, right? Because there's you have to have a balance that you only get from knowing, from losing money and experience in the market, just with your profession. If you don't need money to buy your food every day or whatever, you can, you don't look at your gold because you don't need the money.
Yeah.
And that's actually kind of the best way to have an investment, is to have something that you don't need for day-to-day expenses, and then maybe in a 10-year, 20-year horizon, that'll go up a lot. But in the intra, in the 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year ranges, you could be down. Just I remember my aunt told me she bought her house before the 2008 crash, and she was after the market crashed, I was underwater, but we just kept paying the mortgage, and now it's probably,
now look at it. Well, the average sale price in the market crash, I think, was if you go 2008, it was $350 in Riverside. I made a video yesterday. It's actually dropping today. And then when it hit the bottom, the average sale price in Riverside was $190. The average sale price now in Riverside is $654. Like it's like if you could have held on to your house. I mean, I know houses that were worth like $200,000 that are now over $1 million in Riverside. Like I'll go back and look and see what stuff sold for. Like even me, man, like man, if I could go back and bought up some stuff like a few years ago, oh my God, not even here, but like I had a buddy of mine that was in Alabama, and he was like always hitting me up like, yo, I got this house for $50,000. Oh, I have this house for $50,000. I have this, and I was like, nah, man, nah. And then it's like, I think the hard part that people don't get is like to get really good at investing is that you have to know you have to have your prime business make you enough money for whatever money you put into your assets to make, even if you're gambling on a crypto where you're not freaking out when it goes down and you just go like, hey, like I have a buddy of mine who we're looking for a house for him, and he did really well in crypto the last few years. And he even like he will not let people that he knows get into crypto unless he says, are you okay to lose that much money? Like if you're okay putting 25,000 in, and if you lose that 25, you're out, and you're fine with that. Great. He's like, I don't feel responsible enough to give you what I'm doing, and then something happens, you lose all your money. I'll feel terrible. Like, you know. So it's the truth. It's just like everyone, you know, even like buying houses. Like I think I'm the only realtor that says buying a house is stupid. But like, perfect example, like I know people that have bought that worked really well for them, but I also know the opposite. I know people that have sold, and now if they would have held on a year later, their house would have been worth X, 10% more, 20% more. And it's like, I had no idea the market was going to go up 20%. And when we have a price correction, like I can do my best job guessing what's going to happen. But at the end of the day, I still don't know what's going to happen. And I don't want someone to be like, well, you told me to buy a house. You told me to sell my house. I can't guess that. I think the bigger thing is like, if you believe in crypto, get into crypto. If you believe in home ownership, get into home ownership. Believe in the process, not just because you're doing it to get rich. Because there's such a small amount of people in my space that make money investing property. Like everyone knows, oh, how's the market doing? Why do you care? You're not going to sell your house. You have $150,000 of equity. Are you going to sell? No, then you don't care. So why do you care if it's now down to 100 or 50? Or you didn't care that you had a lot. You're not going to care when you have a little. Like, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. And same in crypto, like it's I stopped buying most of the actual tokens. I only buy NFTs now because I actually am also an art collector, so it goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
And I used to do intellectual property law, so there's a lot of overlap. But let's say out of 10 projects that I buy, like only 1 or 2 might be successful, and those 1 or 2, like I might be able to get my money back, and if I'm lucky, like
yeah, but you've been doing
10x,
this for a while.
right?
You're the guy that buys up web addresses and sells them.
Oh, so that reminds me. So the gift that I have for you is so Ethereum has something called the Ethereum name service, and it's just like a web URL, but it's .eth.
Yeah.
And on Twitter, you'll see a bunch of people with their name .eth. And a lot of the names have been taken, but I found your name, AdamSchwartz.eth.
Oh.
And I bought it, and I'm going to give it to you.
Nice.
You just need an Ethereum wallet.
Oh, okay. Right after this, I'm downloading an Ethereum wallet.
Yeah. So
I have no idea what that is, but I'm doing it.
And so it's essentially a multi-use URL. So your AdamSchwartz.eth can be used to connect to your Ethereum wallet. So if anybody wants to send you tokens, you can say, oh, yeah, just send it to AdamSchwartz.eth.
Did you spell my last name right?
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's why. The T was probably taken, the non-T. Thank you, Grandpa, for spelling my name that way. Or great-grandpa, whoever came over from Germany first and fixed it. So, well, I'm excited, man. I think that, what's interesting, maybe especially here in Riverside, I think that people have to realize, the internet was something when people didn't say the internet was going to be around. Then it's all about what you can get to first, because like Zillow now is super watered down, but when Zillow first popped off, people were crushing on Zillow because a lot of people didn't believe in it. Oh, people are gonna put your information on a website, and then you're gonna go show them a house, and then you're gonna buy and sell. No, my people are going to call the flyer I send to them in the mail. And now even like social, I don't even think in our space here, I don't think people understand that clout and influence is currency. And that's why people go, why do you do this? I'm like, dude, I'm trying to build up internet currency, social media currency. I'm trying to build up the clout where I could literally get to a point where I can sell anything to my followers based on what they believe in me and what I've been pushing out. Kind of like a Gary. Like, I don't think Gary does stuff intentionally like we were talking about, but like he sells books, he does this, he does that because of everything he puts out. I just think I think moving forward, like, crypto is going to matter one day. NFTs are going to matter. How many followers you have on social is going to matter. How many views you get online is going to matter. When I go into a listing, like currently right now, I'm like at 100,000 views a month online. Like when if I go and say I have 1 million, that's going to matter. Like, we're selling we're selling her parents' house, but one of my followers has 1.2 million followers on TikTok. She gets paid to make TikTok videos. I mean, crazy. Yeah. There's just so many ways to make money nowadays. It's just, you gotta just know what you're doing and do it, trust, and like you said, like, do your homework. So yeah, Mike, I appreciate you, man. You're one of my favorite people to talk to. You're super smart. I'm not, and you're a nerd. And it's so funny how like we're totally opposite, but almost the same. And that's so crazy. So yeah. I appreciate it. Remember, guys, I believe this more than anything else in this world because I see it all the time. If you own any property, get a trust. I know I'm pitching Mike. Mike's done my whole family's trust. Mike's done, like, if you own anything that has any value, if you do not have a trust, you are going to kick yourself down the road when something bad happens. Because really what a trust is not for you. It's to make your family's life easier after you're gone. And I don't think people realize the stress that puts on people's families when there's nothing in writing. Then your property has to go to probate. And then it's a super scramble. It's the worst feeling in the world when I have to talk to a client and they're like, yeah, my mom's on her deathbed or this, or someone died. And I go, okay, well, where's the trust? Will, even a will, I don't believe in wills, but like, where's the trust at? Where's this at? Nothing. And then it causes so many fights. Who has the right to do this? Who has the right to do that? Who gets the right of the property? It's a mess. So if there's any tip I can give from anyone, make sure you put everything in a trust. The moment, you're never too young to have one. I have one. My brother has one. My sister has one. My parents have one. If you have anything, put it in a trust. So Mike, I appreciate everything you've done for me. I'm excited for the future. And, make sure you just keep me in the loop on this NFT stuff.
Of course,
all right?
Man. Of
all right,
brother.
Until next time, guys. Peace.